Let me tell you the tale of Elara, whose unyielding footsteps echoed down the prism-lit streets of Aethel, the glass city glimmering beneath a salt-bloated sky. In a world where even the raindrops shimmered with magic's reflection, and every soul traded secrets for safety, Elara was known not just for her delicate craft, but for the heavy mourning she wore like a shroud. Aethel's veins were glass and magic both. Every alley spun crisscrossed rainbows over her path. Every tower was transparent, held together by hope, cunning, and salt in the seams. The city itself sat perched between stability and oblivion, its foundations corroding bit by bit with the slow rot of invisible tides. And in the hollows of her heart, Elara knew the city's beauty was as brittle as her own resolve. They called her a glass worker, but anyone who had seen her hand at work would speak of a different artistry, for her left hand was not flesh, but a prosthetic wrought from pale, luminous glass. Each finger glowed faintly, etched with the memory of her sister, the one who vanished into the world's hidden currents, swept away by the cult whose name no one dared whisper. Those glass digits, shaped from shards left behind, shaped from love and grief in equal measure, were a constant reminder of why Elara could not rest. Some wounds you must polish until they gleam, even if the pain cuts deeper each time. Each night, as Aethel's streets flickered with torchlight fractals, Elara raced against the ticking tide. She gathered rumors from desperate lips, traced faded runes hidden in the gutters, followed footsteps only she could see. Always, there was the looming threat, the Tidebringers, the cult who believed the city's salvation was to let its walls fall, to call the salt flood up from the deep places below, and let magic remake all that had decayed. Her dreams were full of rippling reflections, and a voice she half remembered. Would you save them if it meant destroying me? She would awaken with a sharp pain in her phantom fingers and press the cool clarity of her prosthetic hand against her face, whispering her sister's name. Sometimes she almost answered back. The cult worked quickly, leaving sigils burning blue and white atop the city's water wells, melting the ancient glass beneath with tides of brine-washed power. Elara's investigations led her into the underways, beset by dangerous magic, half-mad refugees, and the ceaseless drip of water eroding the city beneath her feet. Each step threatened collapse. A fellow glassworker murmured, "It's hopeless. Even the best forge cracks in the end." But Elara pressed on, following her last hopeful lead, an old prayer crypt hidden under the sun spire. There, among the iridescent shattered mosaics, she confronted her sister's shadow. But it was not a confrontation, not truly. The woman kneeling before the altar was a memory given form, her hair slick with salt water, her face streaked by determination and sacrifice. "Elara," she rasped from far away, "I did not leave you. I left to promise a future for all of us." The truth, weighty and shattering, was simple. Her sister had given herself body and soul to become the living keystone of the ritual. Her sacrifice did not save Aethel from the flood. It guaranteed the flood. The city's heart would be washed clean, drowned, and remade. And only through that dissolution could it endure at all. Elara recoiled, grief burning anew, anger trembling through her voice. "You would drown us, for what? For a city that will never be the same." Change is suffering, but stasis is death. The choice, beloved, is not to stop the flood or accept it, but to choose what survives after. Salt cleanses. Remember me not as an ending, but as the echo before renewal. All across Aethel, the first fractures began. Water burst up from glowing drains, glass shattered, cascades falling like crystal rain. The city groaned. In that moment, Elara's dilemma was a wound made manifest. She could halt the ritual, using the final anchor, her prosthetic hand, forged from sacrificial glass, to end the magic and halt the flood. But the cost would be dire. The slow rot at the city's roots would win, leaving Aethel to crumble into gentle dust. Or she could lay down her sister's memory, embrace the flood, and become the second keystone, binding her fate and her glasswork to the tide, letting the waves sweep all that was old and broken away. Elara's hands trembled, flesh and glass alike. Does mourning hold us back, or shape what we become? She wondered, kneeling beside her sister's memory. I fear both answers. Wind howled through the crypt, salt crystals swirling in the rising mist. The city above screamed as the flood began in earnest. Elara pressed her palm to the altar, glass meeting glass, and felt ancient power ignite. Through the pain, through the love, she whispered a final pledge. If we are to lose all, let it be so something new may grow. I will carry you, even into the tide. Lightning forked through the crystal sky. The last thing Elara saw was her reflection fusing with her sister's, two faces caught in the tidal bloom, and then the tide rose. Glass split, city walls fell, and the memory of loss was swept away in shimmering, cleansing salt. There, in the aftermath, a single bloom of glass lingered on the water's surface. Within its swirling heart, two fingerprints remained side by side, an echo amid ruins waiting for rebirth. And somewhere, Elara's story slipped into legend, a song of sacrifice, of loss, and of what endures when even memory itself is carried out to sea. What price would you pay for salvation if the flood was coming for you? Suggest the next tale for our flames, and perhaps the firelight will favor your story soon. And if you yearn for more stories from the shattered reaches of Aethel, strike like upon our glass, subscribe, and be ready, for the next tale flows ever closer.